Hey, listen, there's like a treasure trove of games behind us, but we're in such a tight spot, we're gonna like go out of shot and then we're gonna point at things. Are you ready? Come on down, all the way down. Point towards some of the games that you played the most as a kid.
Let's see. We have Connect 4, which was actually even probably before the 80s. Jetsons Masters of the Universe was a 3D action game.
Wait, what does that mean? A 3D action game, you say? Games in 3D?
The hell he says. So, for 2 to 6 players, and if you take a look at the back, it's the way you sort of set it up. It's, again, it's not really something that you're going to think, oh my God, this is like killer technology or anything like that. It was just a simple board that
Are you suggesting that this was not the greatest board game you ever played?
At the risk of offending Mattel and millions, I am saying that. I am
all right,
saying
so
that.
then what? All right, so then what that is within eyeshot is the best game that you played
From the 80s.
that you can see that's here, and then if there's something else,
something that means something to me.
sure, you can do that. Yeah.
Okay, ping pong.
All right. So why a game in which pigs blow air?
It's a bunch of pigs that are blowing air at a paper tennis thing, and it's just great from Milton Bradley.
Do you remember playing this game?
I don't, but a lot of people around 80.
You got the
89.
wrong cousins.
I do. Actually, doesn't she look like Blair Warner from Facts of Life with that hair? I just...
Yeah.
It's just shopping. It's just you take a credit card and it promotes commercialism, which was so 80s. So.
I love capitalism.
This is a McDonald's Translite. Back then, we did not have digital or computerized displays, kids. And so you would put them in front of illuminated fluorescent bulbs, and that's how it lit up, and you knew what you were going to buy. And these were, in particular, the Halloween gift certificates that we got when we trick-or-treated in our neighborhood. And you got either a free ice cream sundae or a cookie or a whatever it was. And then there are some smaller variations. Like
I want that one. Can I just have that, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
No, you can't.
Why not?
Because it's worth $5.
Oh.
All right, let's get this. That's not cool, dude.
Make sure you get that shot of
Yes.
that. That's the best part. Do you remember, did you get a lot of Happy Meals when you were a kid?
Yeah.
This is another thing my parents frequently denied me. All right, so do you remember how many, like, these are all ones that you bought?
Yes. Where
did you
these
get
are
them?
none of these. There were on eBay or maybe in flea markets, people just had them, and then some of them sold me almost every single one in a lot, and for like $100. And every single toy line from 1980 to 1989, pretty much all of them.
Oh, hello. It's just me, Danny Roth with Sci-Fi Wire. You've got a lot, I would say, a fair amount, and I am cozied myself up next to it. Oh man, can we just, we were gonna do like a regular thing, but no. Can we just talk about Starman for a second? Did you watch Starman when you were a kid?
No.
What is wrong with you?
Not 2
John
years later.
Carpenter's Starman is genuinely like one of those underrated classics. When did you start getting into collecting the VHS? At what point did you start doing that?
I think after I did the toys and the board games, I just decided to do the VHS tapes. They're very cheap. You can get them for $0.25 at a flea market, and there's a few quarters that I spent for them.
What have you seen in this collection? And like when you buy them, do you actually sit and watch them? Do you have a VCR?
I do have a VCR, but I don't have time to watch these movies because I'm usually on the social medias like all day long, unless they will recommend something. If I get a whole bunch of people like, you gotta watch this, and we'll talk about it.
Has anybody, wait, so has that happened?
Yeah, they'll tell me to go back and rewatch Clue or St. Elmo's Fire or, you know, the trilogy or like trilogies or Cocoon, let's say Firestarter, and then I'll do that, and then we'll do a live chat.
JP, what do you got in your hands there?
These are all miscellaneous toy figures that I recently recorded and uploaded on my pages. So anything like a Transformer in the box, a Star Trek, a Pound Puppy, Bath Boat, some Pee Wee Herman, Rainbow Bright stuff.
All right, so now what would you have wanted as a kid? Like of the stuff that you have now, what is the stuff that you're like, I wish that I could put it in the time tunnel?
Well, back then, I wanted the Karate Kid stuff. I wanted all the Thundercat stuff, and so I bought it. But Didn't have it back then.
Now, wait a minute. There's a couple other things over here that are pretty cool. So, for example, like Matchbox. I don't know if you knew this or not, but as a kid, I used to have them, and so did literally every other child. From the 1980s, there's nothing in there.
No, it was only $1 for the box.
That's totally fair. But so what would happen is you would just fill up with every Matchbox that you got, you would put inside of the case.
Show them the blue. Show them the blue plastic inside.
Oh, okay. I will show them.
They want to see that.
It's very important for them
Very
to know
important.
that not just any plastic,
Any closure.
but blue plastic. So typically you would have cars in here, John. Now this is heavier, so I feel like there's probably something in here. The Masters of the Universe, I feel like we talked about before. Great cartoon series, highly questionable feature film, excellent action figures. Let's see what we get in here. Oh, all of them.
There's a few.
Wait a minute. Peter Venkman?
I don't know how we got in there.
Get out of here,
I don't know
Pete.
how we got in there.
Anyway, there's good ones in here. Here you go. So this is He-Man, in case you'd never heard of him before. He just kind of hangs out. He's a good dude. He twists his body around sometimes. There's like battle damage ones. Do you have any battle damage in here?
There are, if
What?
you...
Oh, there he is. Okay. Hold on. This is very important. So he starts out like that, right? But then you punch him, and then he's damaged. And then you punch him again, and he's even more damaged. This is 80s cereal,
Correct.
which is a cut above the rest. This is like, I feel like, when cereal came into its own. Do you think they said part of a balanced breakfast before the 1980s? Or do you think that's when it started? Do you know as the authority?
Don't know. All I know is that we just bought it for the toys. And when there was no toy, we didn't buy the box anymore.
Okay, I like some of them. I would not say like honeycomb.
Yeah, there's no
That's all right.
marshmallows in there.
All right, so what was your, do you have, all right, of the ones that are here, what were the ones that you actually ate?
I would probably say the Apple Jacks over there with the
All right.
Chip and Dale Rescue Ranger toy. The Ninja Turtle cereal was pretty big back in the late 80s.
It's just like Chex Mix, though, with
Yeah.
marshmallows.
But I would put chocolate syrup.
Oh, whoa! Now, another thing that I feel like we both probably invested at least some time and money in was comic books. What you have is basically just a ton of different #1 issues from the era.
Yes, this is pretty much every single #1 issue that came out from 1980 to 1989.
So,
Everything.
what are some of your favorites?
Thundercats, Real Ghostbusters, Battle Beasts, Kissy Fur, Willow, Indiana Jones, Cyforce, Annie, Heathcliff, Mad Balls, Headmasters, DuckTales.
So wait, all right, so what is Mad Balls? Explain.
They're freaky, gross balls. There's a joke there.
Look at this craziness now. G.I. Joe meets the Transformers? Now you do it at IDW Comics. I know because I used to work in a comic book store. But back in the day, Marvel had all that stuff. That's pretty wild. Is there anything else you want to call out from this collection? Anything else that you love so much that you would read over and over again?
All of them.
Say like, you know like DuckTales?
Yeah.
So like this guy right here, Scrooge McDuck, he swims in a money bin full of coins. John swims in a money bin full of comics and 80s memorabilia.
A lot of paper cuts.
What games did you play in here? Like how many? So now again, have you played these games now that you have them, or are you just holding on to them?
I would say probably half the games I already played. I mean, very common ones were Pac-Man and Super Mario and Duck Hunt. Some of them came with the actual system, and then you had football and Super Pitfall, Mighty Bomb Jack. These were very popular ones in the late 80s.
This is the first issue of Nintendo Power, correct? I'm not
Correct.
inventing that information.
Correct.
Yeah.
If you open it up, it has the Legend of Zelda Second Quest, which was the follow-up on the same cartridge for Legend of Zelda, which was actually a lot more difficult for you if you played it. And then Castlevania 2
Simon's Quest. This is another game that was literally built with the intention of you having to call a hotline or get like a play guide because the stuff was so impossible to figure out.
Ninja Turtles,
Oh yeah, is this
1989, I believe.
wait, is this the original one?
Yeah, the original.
Did you rent some Nintendo games when you were a kid?
Plenty. Blockbuster Video, Super Mario Brothers, all of them.
Do you remember like a game that like you would rent more than once?
Legend of Zelda. But the problem with some of these games is we didn't have the internet back then, so if you had a problem beating a game, you had to go to school and ask for directions, or otherwise you'd have to call the 1-800 number. which was giving you hints.
That's true. When I was a kid, there was a game called Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, and you would have to beat Mike Tyson. And there was a code
Very hard.
to get directly to him, and I didn't have a pencil, and I asked my bud, Greg Rogers, I was like, hey, Greg, what's the code to get to Mike Tyson and Mike Tyson Punch-Out? And he said, it's 00737359963. And so the whole walk home, I just repeated it over and over again, and now I'm 38, and I still know the code, and that'll be the last thing I think of when I die. True fact.
Did you beat Mike Tyson?
Of course. Who didn't?